Hi, what's going on guys? Tom Mason here for Wex Photographic, and today I want to talk to you all about workflow, how to look after your pictures and data whether you're out on location or back at home. Here's a few tips and tricks for making sure you never lose a photo. Now when it comes to workflow, it all starts on location, and where better than right in the middle of a rockhopper penguin colony on the Falkland Isles. And on a shoot like this, or any other for that matter, losing your pictures would literally be the worst thing. So having a solid workflow is a great way to ensure that your data is safe. Now to get started, you're going to want to invest in some decent quality memory cards. Buy them from a good brand, a reputable dealer, and that will mean that they're less likely to corrupt and you're less likely to get a fake card that could mean that you're more likely to lose your pictures. Now with many modern cameras featuring a dual card slot, it's a great way to have an immediate backup of all your pictures when you're out on location. Here I've got them both saving the raw files to mean if I was to lose a card, I'd always have my data safe and secure. Now when it comes to finishing a card, what you're going to want to do is make sure that you place it face down in your memory card wallet. This is going to mean that when you open it up to look for a new fresh card, you're never going to accidentally overwrite a card full of images when you're out in the field. And with that in place, you're ready to carry on shooting and ensure that you get your pictures back to where you're staying for your backup in the evening. So after a great day photographing the rockhopper penguins, it's now time for stage 2 in my workflow, and that's the location backup. It happens every single night, no matter where I am, to make sure that all of my data that I've shot through the day is safe and secure with multiple copies. Now I keep things really simple, don't overcomplicate. I just take my cards, I make a primary copy on my laptop's hard drive, I then twin that to an external drive. This is a G-Tech EV RAW, a terabyte drive, so loads of space for all the images and video content that I've shot through the day. From this I then make a third copy to a G-Tech ATC, another terabyte drive, so I've got 3 copies of every single image, every single video that I've got. It just means that if I was to lose a drive, if something corrupts, something gets stolen, I've always got another copy. Now when the end of the week comes, once again, you want to split up your data. Don't travel with everything you've shot in one single bag. I take the EV RAW on my laptop, in my carry-on luggage, in my camera bag, and then the ATC in its solid shell goes in my hold luggage. It just means I've split up my data, so I've got 2 copies, and that means my data will be safe and secure for travelling back home to the UK, where we'll pick up on the next part of my workflow. So with my location workflow sorted, it was time to crack on shooting pictures and doing what I love. Jumping in the back of Land Rovers, small planes, I travelled around the Falkland Isles, photographing penguins, Gen2s, rockhoppers and kings. It was absolutely amazing. I also got the chance to photograph some elephant seals and a load of other species, but the week just went too quickly. Eventually I had to jump on my last plane and head back to the UK. After 24 hours travelling, I'm back in the UK, and now it's time for the third part in my workflow, that's the studio backup. Now this comprises of 3 main parts: import all the files that we shot, rename everything for one single easy workflow, and thirdly, get it all backed up. So first things first is import my files. So I'm going to pop out my EV RAW here and stick that into my docking station. This gives me Thunderbolt access to all of the data and files on that drive, so I can import them onto my Lightroom workflow. Now my Lightroom workflow isn't based on the hard drive of my iMac, instead it's based on an external drive. Here, the G-Speed Studio. This is a 24 terabyte RAID 5 array drive that gives me great speed, great redundancy and great protection for my files. Now RAID is a really important kind of thing to understand. Firstly, it's not a backup solution. What RAID does is a redundant array of independent disks, is it uses multiple drives to protect you from single drive failure. So this 24 terabyte drive is built of 4 separate 6 terabyte drives, and each of those has the capacity to remember a little bit of the other drives. So if one of the drives, say the first drive, was to break, the 3 remaining drives have enough capacity and memory of that first drive to rebuild it when I put a new drive in. This means you're going to have minimal downtime, you're not going to lose any pictures due to a drive corrupting, and everything just works smoothly, with no problems. So I'm going to pop that back down. Now the Lightroom It's really great because I can just bring all of my files in here, my data is selected, and I'm going to make the one-to-one previews, but firstly, I'm going to rename everything for when I import it. Now, renaming things is really important because if you want to find specific files, having unique reference numbers for every single image is a great way to do it. I rename by simply having my name first, then the shoot name, the date, and the shot number. That means every single file will always have a unique reference, so if someone rings me up looking for a specific picture, I can find it absolutely no problem at all. So we'll go ahead and we'll import that there. So after all my data is imported, everything is on my studio drive. I now still don't have a backup because even though this is a RAID drive, if someone was to wander in, pick it up and wander off, I'd lose all of my data here. So I need to have backup, not just one backup, two backups, and not just a backup here, I need to have a backup somewhere else. So what I do is this drive here, I back it up to a selection of external hard drives. I've probably got about 8 or 9 of these now, and I have them in a kind of a round robin situation. 4 drives with my backup data live here as a full set, so if I need to rebuild I can quickly do that. And then another 4 are cycled in every single month, but they live off-site at a friend's house. That means that if everything was to be lost, if it was to be stolen, there was a fire, flood, I've always got a full set of my data somewhere else, meaning I can rebuild the system from literally no loss of files. Now with all that information, let's have a quick recap. When you're on location, shoot with great quality memory cards. Use your secondary slot as a backup, and then make sure that as soon as you can, you make a location copy. You make multiple copies wherever you are. Now when you bring that back, rename everything, get it on a good solid drive system. Don't rely on a RAID system as a backup. Always have third copies so that you've got everything at home and off-site. Having this as a setup will mean that you're pretty much protected and your images will be safe and secure for the rest of your photographic career. Now, if you're going to do anything this week, pick yourself up another external drive and make another copy of all your data, please. You know, you don't want to lose it. Keep it safe, keep it secure, and have fun shooting pictures.